Hey everybody! This is our last video in the series of introductory videos for Chemistry 121 and 122. In this video we're going to take a look at designating a proctor and taking exams online. The first thing is we're going to be doing pretty much everything through Blackboard. And to start, I'm on Blackboard under the Exams tab to the left, and I'm going to start by looking at the information under Taking Exams. So as a student, you should be thinking about who can be your proctor. You will need a proctor for all 4 midterm exams as well as the final exam this semester. So as you're thinking about who can be your proctor, you'll want to go to click here to review additional proctored exam information. And just know that a proctor cannot be a family member, and it cannot be someone who is like your boss or someone who works below you at work. So there can't be any conflict of interest with the person who you designate as your proctor. This page has a lot of good information about proctoring policy at UND. I'm not going to go through everything, but it's a good place to find more information. And if you have any questions, take a look at this page, but also feel free to give me a call or email. I'm going to start by going through the proctoring policy. And the first thing is, what is a proctor? So basically a proctor is someone who's going to be with you when you take the exam to make sure you're not using outside information like internet resources or a textbook or notes. They're also going to be the person who has the exam password. Who can be a proctor is a good place for information. So proctors can't be students, friends, relatives, spouses, any of these people here. But proctors can be someone who works maybe at a learning center, a guidance counselor, any teacher or professor. Librarians are a good resource. A lot of local libraries and colleges have proctoring services that you can explore. I know UND has one if you're in Grand Forks. There are other sources as well, so take a look at the resources you have in the area that you live. Another service is called ProctorU, and you can use ProctorU this semester in Chemistry 121 or 122 online. ProctorU is completely online, and it's a proctoring service that does have a fee, so keep that in mind if you decide to use ProctorU. They will be your proctor, but they're not with you physically. They watch you online through your webcam. And it is a good resource if you can't find a proctor in your local area. I know ProctorU has hours 24/7, so they're a good option if you know you need to take the exam at like a weird time, like maybe 10 p.m. at night. If you want more information on ProctorU, you can click the link here, and it gives you more information on ProctorU, but I'm happy to answer questions as well. Okay, so once you have figured out who you want to be your proctor, we can go back to Blackboard and back to this Exams tab, and you can go to click here to designate a proctor. You're going to log in, and you'll use the same username and password that you use for Campus Connection in Blackboard, and it will take you to the student side of things. Basically, I think what you need is your proctor or proctoring service's name and their email address. So enter that and submit it, and once you do, your proctor will get an email, and the proctor needs to use that email to register for an account as a proctor. And at that account, they'll have a username and password, and that is where they'll go to access the exam password. Alright. So that is a little bit of background on designating a proctor. So now let's think that it is exam time and you're ready to take your exam. So the first thing is you need to schedule a time to take the exam with your proctor. And that's up to you to schedule that. You need to make sure that it is within the week that the exam is available. So once you get to your proctor, you'll need to bring your laptop, or maybe your proctoring service has computers available, but just make sure that you bring a laptop or computer if needed, pencils, erasers, your calculator, non-programmable, and blank scratch paper. Once you're ready, we can go to the exam folder on Blackboard. So the exam folder has a reminder of when the exam is available, and the exam folder will always have two things. It will have the exam itself, and it will have the info sheet. So we're looking in Chem 122, but Chem 121 has something similar as well. So once I open the info sheet, this is something that you can use on the exam. So you can have this info sheet open in another tab online, or you can have it printed out. So taking a look at this guy, it has instructions for the exam, and it has always a periodic table. So you'll always have this exact periodic table on the exam. And it has equations for what you need for those chapters that the exam covers. So you always have equations. My philosophy is that you don't need to memorize equations, but you do need to know how to use them. And so you'll have any relevant equations for each exam this semester. Alright, so this is what you can have as a resource on the exam. The exam itself is here, and we can go to begin. So this is where the roadblock is, and this is where you'll need your proctor. The proctor has access to the password, and they'll enter it here. And once they enter the password, I think example is you will see the exam. So this won't be your exact exam this semester, this is just an example. And all questions are multiple choice questions, and the exam looks something like this. And so you can scroll through, and at the very end of the exam, you'll want to save everything. And also, if you see your questions have a save answer, so once you select an answer, you'll want to save it. So make sure that you save regularly so that you don't lose any information. And then at the very end, you can save and submit. Your exam will have a 90-minute time limit for the 4 midterm exams, and the final exam has a time limit of 2 hours. Now, if your proctor has any questions, they can contact UND Tech Support. Their link is on Blackboard. Or they can email me. But a lot of times proctors have the question of where do they get their password, and if they ask you that, maybe you can help them. They'll want to go to exams. They'll want to go to the click here to review additional proctored exam information, and there's a proctor login here, and they need to enter the username and password that they set up when you sent them an email. Alright, so let me think. Is there anything else I should say about exams? So the biggest things are, make sure that you take the exam within the week that it's available, and remember always the latest time that you can start the exam is 10 p.m. that Sunday night that the exam is due. You have to schedule a time with your proctor. You have to designate a proctor, and you can always use the info sheet for the exam. So you'll always have a periodic table, and you will always, well, you'll have equations if they're needed. I think that is everything. So let me know if you have any questions on designating a proctor or taking exams, and please be sure to designate a proctor as soon as possible, but before the exam window begins. So please have your proctor designated before September 10th.